Hello fellow adventurers and collectors, Filmaholic here, and on today's episode of the Joe Report we've got a lot to go through. I've been stockpiling a bunch of footage in terms of getting this basically episode together because I wanted to make it more substantial than the typical 3 to 4 minute videos that I usually do. So you'll see a bunch of lots that I picked up and even a toy show haul that I got recently. So with that said, I've basically been trying to fill out some of my G.I. Joes and trying to upgrade some of the pieces that I have in my collection. And not only that, I've also been finding good deals when they come across my way. So that being said, this muscle body actually came in a weird package, but aside from that, it's one that I used to have actually and one that I had complete, but when I did the great purge of my first collection, unfortunately he went to the wayside as well. But after seeing everybody's upgrades to this body, I figured it'd be a great chance to do that myself. So I got this for a good price, or at least what it is nowadays. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed that the legs are wobbly, but that's to be expected with these muscle bodies. They may not be the most sturdy G.I. Joe items out there, but they do fill out clothes very well. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing with this guy outside of giving him the arms, but I originally had thought to put an Action Man head on it, but I didn't like the way it looked, so we'll see. This project is definitely going to be put on the back burner right now, but for better or worse, I did have the arms, and unfortunately there was a bit of a brawl in order to get those arms, but suffice to say they were required for the G.I. Joe custom project. But yeah, I was glad I was not present for that conversation. So fortunately the boys have something to explain, later down the road. But yeah, watching Peter's update video or upgrade video on this got me motivated to get a muscle body at some point. So a matter of patience, and it actually paid off. So not sure when I'm going to get this project going, but it's nice to have the pieces to start at least. Now next up, I actually got this listing, and suffice to say this is one that I basically got because of the parts that it included. And I basically have made the decision to get these Cotswold bodies whenever I can, because I would like to upgrade the ones that the original bodies I have, because I just don't want to deal with the breaking or cracking pieces. I know that this can happen with these bodies as well, but it's not going to happen anytime soon, or at least with the way that I pose them or use them. So with this lot, it actually came with a bunch of accessories that I plan on using for my Land Rover project, if you're keeping up with that as well. But this crate actually that I just placed down is actually very heavy. I'm not sure what it's from. It's not labeled or anything, so if you have any information on that, please let me know. Now this head sculpt is a bearded one, or has a 5 o'clock shadow, and it's my first time actually dealing with that. It's a nice head sculpt overall, but again, I had planned on using this body for any floating heads I may have in my collection. So if anything, I'll just keep that and use it for any other projects that may come my way. But my main interests were these trunks, and surprisingly enough, the listing wasn't too bad in terms of price, so I was happy enough to pay what they were asking for. And that's something that I always drill home when it comes to this stuff, is that the deals are out there. It's just a matter of being patient enough to, wait it out, or just keep looking. In terms of any tips that I can give, I use broad terms in terms of what I search up to find these lots or find these listings. So now with that, one G.I. Joe head sculpt that I really do like is the Action Man head sculpt, and that is the cousin to G.I. Joe. And the one in particular that I'm always looking for is the Eagle Eyes one. I know some people don't care for it because it's kind of creepy, but to me I like it. It adds character and actually adds more depth to the figures overall. And from my experience, their bodies are actually more durable than the G.I. Joe ones. I'm not sure what kind of plastic they used, but I come across these and they're more often than not broken or cracked or anything like that. So my current Action Man figures are on reproduction bodies, so it's nice to have an actual Palitoy body. But something I did notice that kind of piqued my interest is that the head sits very low on the neck post, and I'm not sure if it's the neck post or the head sculpt itself, because I've noticed that the actual head is a bit larger than the typical Action Man head. And I tried looking up information about this and I didn't find much out there, so if you know or know of someone that knows, please let me know in the comments below, because I have seen this before and it's not like it was like a factory error, so I'm just not entirely sure if it's like a later production head on an older body or what have you, but it kind of looks stumpy. And this little stumpy Action Man caused a whole ruckus in my collection, because I basically did, you know, the swapping game as in terms of what head is going to have to go on which body, because at the end of the day, that head did not look right to me. So as you can see here are some of the neck posts, the left being the Cotswold. Second from that is like the modified one that I did, and that's the short stubby post that it came with, and my ghetto rig one for the muscle body. But that being said, what I ended up doing was modifying one of my Cotswold extra neck posts and thickening it up to actually fit this head, because as you can see, it's super thick for some reason. I'm not entirely sure what that is for, but you would think here it's normally, but once you push it on, it sits too close to the torso for my liking. So I ended up putting my bearded Action Man head on it, even though I'm trying out the non-bearded one here. But again, this was basically head swap the game in terms of what I wanted to put on that body. That being said, I did end up finding this in particular, because this was on Mercari for a good while and I had been watching it, so I threw the guy an offer, and fortunately enough he accepted it. And this is actually an Action Man field jacket, and if you're familiar with that, that's probably one of the most popular accessories outside of the Green Beret outfit that G.I. Joe came out with. So to have an Action Man version of it was very exciting for me, at least. You know, again, the differences are minute at the end of the day, but to me, I really do like having these pieces, you know, that came from overseas essentially. There was a little bit of TLC work that I had to do, like sewing some of the seams and then adding a new string to the back of it, but outside of that, it's a very nice condition jacket, and I ended up putting it on my, you know, bearded Action Man. And here it is compared to the American version. It's a little bit darker, you know, I kind of like it more, but at the same time it seems a little too long for me. But here it is on the Action Man compared to the G.I. Joe. I really do like these jackets, and the one that I have currently in my collection was actually from my first collection that I had, but I liked the jacket so much that I kept it and sold the figure that it came with. So it's a nice momentum from the old collection that I had. Man, I really do like these Action Man head sculpts. You know, again, they may be goofy to some, but I really do like them. They add a lot of character to the figure, so it's always a pleasure to add one to my collection. And speaking of Action Man, these are the final results as all the head swapping that I did. You know, I always try to utilize those parkas because they're so nice, and you know, I really do like keeping them on display. So I ended up putting the blonde Action Man head on this reproduction body. And of course, there's the one in the middle. Now he's kind of short than everyone else, but that's okay. You know, he's gonna be the guy that's in charge of my, you know, team, whatever that ends up being called. But unfortunately, this guy is ending up bodiless, which is what he started with, so that's rather unfortunate for him. That being said, the Chicago Toy Show actually came up recently, and I picked up this. I wasn't planning on getting this, to be honest with you, but I heard him offer someone else a deal on it, so I figured I'd step in and try to get a deal as well. But I initially just wanted that field jacket, but ended up all these clothes in the trunk as well. So it was a nice little find. You know, this year's show, or at least the summer show, was smaller and it was only kept to 2 buildings, and from what I saw, it was mainly die-cast, which was surprising. But you know, the Cancer Funko Pops were there as well. But overall, it was a nice show. You know, there was surprisingly a lot of G.I. Joe items. You know, a lot of stuff out of my budget, of course, but you know, it was nice to see in person. So surprisingly enough, I found 2 Adventure Team training towers, and I've been hunting that down, but I just didn't have the funds this time around, nor did I have the gusto to actually ask, because a lot of them were complete and in box, and suffice to say, I would throw out the box. I don't need the box. I just want the tower itself. But yeah. So yeah, I got a whole bunch of jackets, adventure team jackets, and that field jacket that I have to actually figure out how to redo that zipper because it's missing the zip up portion. And then I ended up coming away with this. That trunk that came with that Cotswold figure actually is from this line as well that I found later on. And this is something that I've come across numerous times on eBay, but to see in person was actually nice to see. And for $10, I was more than happy to pay that for this. So yeah, with that said, I appreciate you guys and the patience you guys exhibit in terms of me producing these videos. You know, I wanted to wait for all this footage to add up, so it's something more substantial than the normal video that I release. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. And with that, I thank you guys for watching. And if you feel so inclined, please like, comment, and or subscribe. I very much appreciate it. And I will catch you all next time.